I'm Colonel Christopher Garver, the 3 Corps and Fort Hood Public Affairs Officer. I'd like to introduce Lieutenant General Mark A. Milley, Commander of U.S. 3rd Corps and Fort Hood, and Senator John Cornyn. General Milley will make some remarks, Senator Cornyn will make some remarks, and then they'll take questions after that. So please raise your hand, wait to be called on, and then we'll take remarks and then move from there. So without further ado, General Milley and Senator Cornyn.
Good afternoon. Again, condolences to the families of the fallen, and our compassion and condolences for all of those who were injured in this affair, for all of their families, and we're working closely with all of them at this time. Right now, I'd like to provide you an update. I won't repeat the information that I provided yesterday or last night, but an update, a short update on the shooting incident that happened yesterday. First, I want to announce that we have positively identified, and we are able to release, as next of kin have been notified, the alleged shooter is Specialist Ivan A. Lopez. He is 34 years old, originally from Puerto Rico. Specialist Lopez was assigned to the 49th Transportation Movement Control Battalion of the 13th Sustainment Brigade. And again, his next of kin notification has been complete. We will be publishing later on this afternoon, this evening, Specialist Lopez's releasable service record, and you can find that on FortHoodPressCenter.com. In regards to Specialist Lopez's medical status, out of respect, as you can understand, for his family and the integrity of the ongoing investigation, I will not say anything further than the comments that I made yesterday. As for the investigation, Criminal Investigation Division of the United States Army continues as the lead investigating agency, and they are right now synchronizing all of the investigative work of the federal, state, local, and Army agencies throughout Fort Hood and the surrounding area. They are interviewing witnesses, and that is an ongoing and active investigation. I would ask that everyone avoid speculation about the incident and let the investigation and the investigators take their course. Many of those soldiers are also witnesses, and I would ask the media, for due respect of the integrity of the investigation, to try to stay clear of soldiers who may have been witnesses. And as I stated last night, at this point, we have not yet ruled out anything whatsoever, and we are committed to letting the investigation run its course. But we have, again, no indications at this time of any links to terrorist organizations of any type, either national or international. I just returned from Scott and White and visited with our wounded soldiers down there, and I'd like to thank publicly the great professional support that we've gotten from the entire medical staff at Scott and White. Tremendous effort by all of them, the medevac pilots, and then also the great professional medical effort that was done here on Fort Hood at Darnell. There are casualties still at Darnell, and there are casualties still being treated at Scott and White, and they are getting world-class medical care, and we appreciate all of that. Currently, we have 16 wounded soldiers, and as we said yesterday, 4 killed, the shooter, and 3 victims. Of the 16 soldiers, 9 of them are at Scott and White currently, and 3 are at Darnell. 4 of the soldiers have already been released. We're planning a memorial ceremony for early next week, and we will keep you advised of when that is, to honor our fallen. I'd also like to thank the outpouring of support from the Central Texas community, and indeed from the entire state of Texas, and from all of our national leadership within the military and our civilian leadership at the national level. Everyone is chipping in to try to assist in any way they can, and I would recommend that any individual wanting to donate support in any manner, shape, or form, contact the Fort Hood PAO that's on the Facebook page, and they can point you in the right direction. But a variety of organizations from the USO, the Red Cross, and a wide variety of other organizations are providing assistance right now, and we deeply appreciate their support as well. With that, I'll take questions after I turn this over to Senator Cornyn. But again, I ask that you keep the fallen and the families of the fallen, along with the wounded and the families of the wounded, in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you very much, Senator Cornyn.
Thank you, Joe. Well, General Milley, thank you for your strong and steady leadership during difficult times, both here and assignment abroad, where we last met. I'm back here in Fort Hood for the second time in about 4.5 years, and what I see is a community that has come together in a time of crisis and heartbreak and is pulling together. But this community is no stranger to hardship and challenges, and they have risen and met the test each and every time, and I know they will do that again. But I'm here today to offer my support to my constituents and certainly the military leadership as they conduct their investigations in a very deliberate and careful sort of way, not jumping to conclusions, but seeing this thing through to the very end, as I know they will and we will. But I look forward not only to the briefing that I just had with General Milley, but also having a chance to meet with the first responders, the people who showed up and confronted this crisis and dealt with it as professionals. And then I look forward to having a chance with General Milley to visit some of the wounded and perhaps to help comfort some of the families of those who are fallen.
So with that, be happy to take a few questions.
General,
Sir.
is there any truth to the reports that this shooter bought his weapon at the same gun store that Hassan did?
I'll wait until the investigation confirms that to me. I have some reports to that effect, but I don't have confirmation.
General?
Yes, sir.
Did the specialist transfer to this facility in order to take advantage of the WTU and the
No. He was transferred to Fort Hood from Fort Bliss. He was assigned to a unit at Fort Bliss, Texas. He was reclassified into another MOS while he was at Fort Bliss. He was an infantryman. He reclassified into 88 Mike, a vehicle operator, and he came to Fort Hood under that MOS. He was not being transferred here to be assigned to the WTU.
I'm sorry, not transferred here in order to get medical attention through the WTU?
No, that is not the reason why he was transferred. That is not the reason why he was transferred. Thank you. We're looking into that right now, yeah. There are reports of that, trying to confirm or deny that exactly.
General, friends of Specialist Lopez back in Puerto Rico say that he was upset that he was given only 24 hours by the military to attend his mother's funeral. What exactly were the terms of his leave for that funeral?
Yeah, I don't have the details on that right now.
Are you aware of his purchasing that gun?
Thank you. You're going to have to say that again, please? No, the unit mission was complete at 4 months.
Was the purchase of the gun, did that happen at about the same time that his mother passed away?
I do not know.
Will there be any change in the policy of children being allowed to carry firearms in the base or searches, conducting searches at the base or searches at the
At this time, there's no change in the DoD policy that I'm aware of in terms of carrying weapons on a military installation. We have very strong evidence that he had a medical history that indicates unstable psychiatric or psychological condition. Going through all the records to ensure that that is in fact correct, but we believe that to be the fundamental underlying causal factors.
Are there any instances at Fort Bliss that you can speak to? You said there was a history of the...
Yeah, no specific incidents, that's correct, that I'm aware of at Bliss.
Did he ever complain about assault?
I'm sorry?
Did he ever file a complaint about assault?
Not that I'm aware of.
General, did he have problems prior to coming to the office?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So are you referring to records that are for his career within the military?
That's correct.
General, do you think there was one specific incident that triggered the shooting?
I'm sorry?
Was there one specific incident that triggered the shooting?
We're looking into that, trying to figure out what the trigger event was. It was mentioned yesterday there may have been a verbal altercation with another soldier or soldiers, and there's a strong possibility that in fact immediately preceded the shooting. But we do not have that definitively at this point, but we do have strong indications of that.
He had a non-registered weapon with him. It would be realistic trying to, go through everybody that goes into the base looking for unregistered weapons.
I'm not sure I understood the question.
He had a weapon that he hadn't registered.
He has not registered a weapon on Fort Hood, that's correct.
Yes. Would it be realistic to kind of search every single soldier going into the base with a unregistered weapon?
As you know, Fort Hood's a big installation. We've got about 70 or 80,000 folks here that work on a day-to-day basis. There's another 40,000 family members. Add on to that retirees, contractors, and others. We've got a population well over 100,000 here. It would not be realistic to do a pat-down search on every single soldier and employee in Fort Hood for a weapon on a daily basis. That would be unrealistic. Thank you.
What do you think about the policy of children
The female MP, and then we'll come back to your question for the senator. But there were several instances here of clear heroism. I would cite that female MP. We're not going to release her name yet. She's germane to the investigation, but she clearly performed her duty exceptionally well. But there's others. There were folks inside some of these buildings who performed very heroic personal acts in saving others. There's at least one chaplain that I'm aware of that shielded and saved other soldiers, broke some windows, and got them to safety. I think the performance of the medical staff, the initial performance of medical staff at Darnell was exceptional, and I've seen a lot of medical staffs perform in combat, and the performance at Darnell and the performance of Scott and White easily rose to those levels of combat standards. So there's an awful lot of heroism out there, and yes, she did fire a weapon.
Follow up on that? With that chaplain. Now that we're 24
Go ahead.
hours out, General, 24 hours out, what is the impact and the morale of the troop level? A second of death, we're not 24 hours out.
We've got all the commands doing command information throughout the day to day, but all the reports and my personal observations so far, you've got an installation that's strong, it's resilient, we're professional soldiers, a very high percentage of combat veterans here, so the morale of soldiers is serious, it's professional, and we're going about our duties to take care of this and move on and take care of the families. Go ahead. No indication at this point. No indication that he's targeting specific people. I'll await the investigation. I think someone had a... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, General Milley's job is to carry out the policy of the Department of Defense now, but I'm confident that there will be a thorough review of that policy, and the military will make the best judgment what it needs to happen in order to protect people on base. So I respect General Milley's position. I respect the importance of doing that thorough review to see if there are any gaps or any things that need to be corrected in future policy.
We're going to do a thorough investigation of all the systems, to include medical. I've asked for external investigators to come in to help us with all of that, to ensure that there's no gaps or seams. We do know that he was under treatment, so he was in the system, and he was being looked at. I think that's too early to tell, and I'll wait till we get the investigators in here. The professional medical investigators tell me whether there's gaps in that particular system.
Do we know if his visual history has been reported to the state, which might have kept him from being able to buy a gun
I do not know that.
You know he purchased the gun on March 1st. Investigators say that they don't believe that he, at that time, had an intent to kill anyone with it. Do you believe, given what you know at this point, that he brought it on with the intent to kill? Was this a premeditated act?
Do not know. We'll wait till the official investigation comes out, determine whether it's premeditated or not. Say, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, she responded to the scene. Let me back up. At 16:16 hours yesterday is the first 911 call. That call was made by two wounded soldiers who in and of themselves demonstrated heroism and presence of mind to go ahead and make a 911 call, and I've talked to both of them down at Scott and White. The shooting began just a few minutes prior to that, and they were able to get that call. She arrived with her vehicle at 16:20 hours. She arrived 4 minutes after that 911 call, and she began working the scene with other law enforcement that began to show up. A short time later, the shooter showed up, approached her at approximately 20 feet, and as I described yesterday, put his hands up, then went down, and underneath his jacket, he pulled out the .45 caliber Smith & Wesson weapon, at which time she saw that, interpreted that as a threat, correctly so, and then engaged him with small arms fire, at which time then the shooter did a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Yeah, I doubt it based on her rank, but I don't know the answer to that. Yes.
Did the chaplain do that as the shooter was separated?
I'm sorry?
Was the shooter in the same building when the chaplain?
Yes.
How close was he to him?
Close. Close. Sorry?
There was a strong indication that there was some kind of verbal altercation right before the shooting between him and another soldier. Did you shed any light at all on what that altercation was about?
No, at this point I'd like not to shed any light on that, as that's being fully developed as part of the investigation. Thanks. Let me go over on this side here. That would be real speculation, and I'm not going to engage in that.
Is there anything else you're looking at his personal life that could possibly have been?
We are looking at all of the factors that you would suspect. We're looking at everything from finance to medical, personal relationships, marital issues, family health issues, all those sorts of things. We're looking at all of that. I'm sorry. Did she strike him? I don't have the full autopsy report at this time, so I do not know if there's other wounds or not, other than the self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Yeah, I don't have all of those roles defined yet. Hang on. Yeah, he did just what I said he did, which is he shielded some individuals, took control of the situation, broke a window, and got them out to safety. Yes, ma'am. I couldn't hear the question. Say that again. I don't know that. I don't know all the facts on that report of a leave request yet. That's being developed by the investigators, so I don't want to comment on that until I get accurate information on it.
Senator Gordon, question for you, sir.
Go ahead, you. He's got it. No, there's no connection to that we know of. Over here. She was not wounded. You're going to have to speak up. Yeah, I don't know. We've got local law enforcement checking all of that. Yes. No indications of any of that. You went into the 49th Transportation Battalion Headquarters building.
Senators?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you confirm that he purchased the weapon from Guns Galore?
He purchased the weapon from Guns Galore on 1 March. That's correct.
When did he buy that weapon?
I'm sorry?
When did he
1 March.
Senator? Senator, we know that Mr. Lopez had a long history now with mental illness. And even though it was done before, none of that came up in his previous records. People just hours before this thing happened had no inclination. Kevin Comey happened too much here at Fort Limited Information Military across the way. They didn't realize it was development. What can be done in order to get at this? There are so many veterans coming home dealing with these specific issues. It's not always very obvious what is going to send them home.
Well, mental health issues are the most vexing issues from my perspective in terms of how do we identify people who have genuine problems that need to be treated and need to be that they need to be helped with. But I think at the same time we have to be very careful and not paint with too broad a brush and assume that just because someone has been in combat that they necessarily have those issues. We shouldn't stigmatize healthy people who are resilient, who are able to deal with those stresses. We ought to identify those people the best we can who do need help and get them the help that they need. And this remains one of the, to me, one of the most vexing, but also one of the most urgent issues, not just with regard to the military, but with regard to many of the mass shooting incidents we've seen, not only on military installations, but in our country, period.
Senator, do you envision
Take 2 more questions.
leading towards an investigation or a hearing or a renewed call to Washington for veterans and active duty mental health issues?
Well, the debate about and discussion about how to appropriately deal with veterans and active duty military's mental health issues is one that's been ongoing for at least the last 13 years with special intensity because of Afghanistan and Iraq. But it's not going to abate. My sense is that it's going to accelerate, and the debate and the scrutiny and the investigation will need to heighten, and we'll need to deal more extensively with it. This is a very challenging issue, but one we can't shrink from, and we won't.
Take 1 more question from over here. Go ahead. 1 more question from over here.
Do you have any idea if the shooter may have been targeting specific soldiers or the attack was completely
There's no indications at this time that he was targeting specific soldiers. Last question. Go ahead.
more detail on movements of the shooter, exactly which buildings he went into, and
We do, and we're developing the exact sequence, what building, step by step, but I'm not prepared to release that at this time. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
You mentioned we're going to put Specialist Lopez data up on the FortHoodPressCenter.com website. It'll have all the releasable personal data. You'll get that from Army Public Affairs as well. So go there. You can pull down that data now. Over.
What time? Right now? Victims as well?
It's only about Specialist Lopez at this time.
You said it's up there right now? Yeah, we should be going up right now. And it's working. We're going up.